Welcome back to another Overwatch Coach VOD review. Today we are going to be reviewing a Bronze 5 Mercy. According to their intro, they main Mercy and Lucio. So let's dig into what they wrote here. I'd never placed anything but Bronze 5 in Overwatch 2. I did just fine in 1, but I'm stuck. Since 2 came out, I haven't been able to play comp as a healer with my buddy, and it's frustrating. First of all, that's a support, not a healer. I main as Mercy and Lucio. I came from main Overwatch sub because folks were telling me to not just heal. I don't just heal. I have no idea what to do to get better besides just being less ballsy in matches. I can post more codes if people would like, but one of them is from a match last night. So he posts a code, but that code didn't work. But I found in the comments a different code that he posts, and then that one works. So we're watching a different code than the one he originally posted. I just want to rank up so I can play comp with my buddy, but I only like Mercy and Lucio. I'm told to switch, but what's the point if I don't like the other characters? The game is already tough enough to enjoy. What's the point is winning. Winning is the point. So if you're stuck, support isn't all about just playing one or two heroes. I often tell, if you look at other videos of mine, I always say at least have 3 heroes in your repertoire per role. So you've got 2 down. Lucio's not in the greatest of spots. And Mercy, I would argue Mercy's probably a difficult hero to get yourself out of bronze with, because Mercy is basically an extension of your DPS. And if you're playing in bronze, the mechanics ain't really gonna be there too much. So in terms of a third support to get good at, in my opinion, I would point to Kiriko being number 1. If you feel like you've got pretty good mechanics, then Baptiste maybe number 2. And then number 3 would be probably Moira. The reason I put Moira at 3 is because as you climb up the ranks, her utility shoots downward. You don't state what your rank was in Overwatch 1, and you don't state what rank your buddy is. So I'm going to make an assumption that it's probably somewhere in gold or plat, because that's like where the average tends to be. But if you're in bronze, I think you could still group with a gold. So let's say they're plat. Because I don't think a gold or a bronze and a platinum player can play together. So Moira might be... So like if your only goal is to be able to play with your buddy, and that's essentially getting into like silver, Moira might be a good option for another hero to pick up and learn. And if you want to learn Moira, I've got a lot of VOD reviews that I've done for Moiras. And if you want to submit another VOD review, once you kind of start playing her or any of these other supports, I suggest feel free to submit to me another VOD, to look at, but do a few games, kind of get the gist of the hero first and then shoot one over to me. But Moira might, but like if that's your only goal is just to climb up enough to play with your buddy, then Moira might be a good option. Baptiste might be good if your mechanics are good enough to aim, because Baptiste can kind of DPS himself out of the lower tiers, in my opinion. But your aim's got to be there, so you got to be able to land some headshots. And then you also got to be able to land the healing grenades, because I'm not saying don't support your other healers and turn into a pseudo third DPS, but the reason why I suggest Moira and then I go to Bap is because a lot of times your DPS in the bronze games aren't going to be good enough to carry you to enough wins to carry yourself out of bronze. and those heroes might be able to pseudo it enough to be able to kind of jack of all trade it and shoot yourself up. So those two might be good. And then Kiriko is the one I would suggest if you're actually serious about climbing and being a good utility to your team in those mid and upper tier games. Because Kiriko's cleanse is it's a must-have ability to go to once you start climbing in the ranks. It's not necessarily something you got to just come out of the gate with, but as soon as there's an oppressive Ana laying in the anti-nades, one of the two supports has to be able to supply the Kiriko cleanses. So that's why I would urge Kiriko as a hero to add to your repertoire as well. So going into what we have here, we need to see who this other...
5.
So already, like, it took them, you know, this guy didn't even pick a hero, and you guys are already, let me get back on your view here. You are right there. So like, you guys are already basically engaged in the fight, and you've got a casual who didn't even pick a hero until just now. So that's, you know, this is the kind of stuff you see in bronze. So just to start, so this is our Mercy. You don't have any obvious people to be pocketing. Now, you can pocket Bastion. Bastion's not the worst hero to pocket, but you just went Mercy out of the gate, and this guy didn't even pick a hero until basically just now. So you're just blindly going Mercy. So who like, in your head, who are you supposed to be pocketing here? Because you don't, Torb's not really a pocket choice. Diva's not a pocket choice. You're not gonna pocket excuse me, you're not gonna pocket Moira. So you're on a Lucio map. You say you play Lucio, but you don't come out of the gate as Lucio. That confuses me, because as a former Lucio one trick, I'm locking Lucio here all day. So that already kind of puzzles me. So the thought process here doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But anyway, let's dig into what you actually do here. So right now you're pocketing Diva. So, okay. Coming out of there, I don't get why you don't fly up and take mid ground and then pocket your Diva that way. Like, you're stuck on the ground. Now shoot yourself up in the air and get to some high ground. You don't do it. I'm checking to see if anywhere in here did you post that you're on console.
I must return.
Because this looks like a console game.
You call it? Enhancing your strength.
Yeah, I don't see you saying that, but yeah, this is definitely looking like it's a console game. So if this is console, Moira could definitely be a valuable hero then to add to your repertoire, especially if aiming is difficult. You should be damage boosting. I would be sticking on the Bastion here. Yep, gotta be careful of that. Paying attention to Junkrat tires. At least you were by yourself, so nobody died with you.
My skills are still needed.
If on the off chance this isn't a console game and you're playing on PC, it looks like you're playing on a controller. You're still not grabbing any height on your flying.
take a look.
You should be on the Bastion right now. So there's a role to be played with every support. So when you're playing Mercy and Moira, you're the off healer. So you pocket Torb, you pocket Bastion, the Moira pockets Diva. That's the division of labor here. Now this changes with every every kind of team comp. That could totally change. Like if you're playing Mercy with a Lucio or a Zen, now suddenly you're the main healer. Although those are terrible healing comps, but to say you never run into that would be a lie too. So your job is not to focus on the Diva. Your job is to focus really on the Bastion and then the Torb. But Bastion should be your first priority. Damage boost, damage boost. Yeah, you're just stuck on the ground all the time. You're never flying, you're never getting any airtime. And I'm betting when you play Lucio, you're barely wall riding. Just based off of what I'm seeing here. Because your movement is very basic. And this looks like bronze movement. So, the one thing I would be doing here is telling the Diva that you've got a Junkrat like point blank behind you, and then pinging it on the ping system, doing anything you can to get the Diva to turn around and look at the Junkrat. And then just pocket your Bastion.
Never die.
You need to get height. Height. Fly up into the air. Get height.
Activating self-destruct sequence.
Damage boost. Damage boost. Still not damage boosting. Most of the time that you were in Valkyrie, you should have been damage boosting. Once you get your Torb healed up, go back to damage boost, damage boost, damage boost. Get your health pack, yep. You know, the other thing I'll say is we haven't seen a res yet. It's a good kill.
Taking the objective.
Yeah, you're not taking this. So get back to your team here.
I am empowering you.
Okay, good. You guys won the round.
Ready for.
Okay, so division of labor stays the same. You've got the Moira. They're gonna have trouble healing Diva just because of the mobility of the hero. Moira is not the greatest for healing mobile tanks, but the division of labor still remains the same. So in this case, you should really be on Ashe primarily, and then if the Ashe is either struggling or going into stupid places that are getting you killed or something, then you go to the Torb. But number 1 is Ashe, number 2 is Torb, number 3 would be Diva, and 3 could be coinciding with the Moira just situationally, but that should be your focus here.
Sustaining application.
Get on your Torb. Now, I would be trying to fly to some people and grabbing height and then taking, like, mid-ground stances, like the mid-ground that's right above you to the right. And that's why. If you're in the air, if you're taking a mid-ground stance, you're not getting hooked, you're not taking random flak. I mean, the only risk you would have is if a sniper shoots at you, but this is a bronze game and there's no snipers on the map. So there's no reason for you not to be flying in the air here.
Making a full recovery. Right
See if you can get your Moira out. Yeah, just get out. Fly back to your team.
Heightening your capabilities.
This is just a full regroup at this point. Get to your Ashe. Just damage boost the Ashe and stay back. Don't get yourself picked. Stay with the Ashe. Stay with the Ashe. Stay with the Ashe. Okay, at this point, now you might have wanted to swap over to the Diva, but now that the Moira is back, you know, Moira might have been able to take care of that. But really, you should have been staying with the Ashe, damage boosting them. Maybe they get a pick and it turns into a 4 versus 5 because one of them maybe pokes a little too much. Your job here is not to be dealing with the Diva. You should still be either on the Ashe or Torb. Yeah, so if you're flying in the air, that Cassidy probably has trouble hitting you, and then you just keep healing and damage boosting away. If you're also in the air, you could probably have pinged the Cassidy. If you're comfortable enough communicating to your team on a microphone, call that stuff out. I get not everybody's comfortable with that, but there is totally a value to calling stuff like that out. Otherwise, if you're not comfortable with that, get very comfortable pinging things like that. Yeah, and again, fly to your team and shoot yourself up in the air. And a lot of this kind of damage that you're taking, you're probably not taking nearly half of it.
Where am I needed?
But yeah, your movement needs a lot of work. Because you're not shooting yourself up into the air at all. Like, I don't think I've seen you do it once yet. The other thing here that I want to add, if you're not getting reses off on Mercy, why are you playing her? That's like playing any hero and utilizing half of their kit. Like, Mercy's big thing is erasing a mistake, like a mistake death. Like, maybe they poke too much, or maybe they just get sniped, but you're capable of rezzing them in the back line. We haven't seen you res a single person yet, I don't think. Okay, we finally got our first res, basically at the end of the second point. That's not good. And you're just stuck on the ground. You're a flightless bird. So that's like 2/3 of Mercy's kit you're not getting any value out of. You're not getting any flight time. You're basically not getting any reses off. So if you're wondering why you're stuck in bronze, it's because you're not utilizing the hero that you're choosing to main's kit, like, at all. Like, 2/3 of it is just going to waste.
It's going where outcomes are
Be uplifted.
Okay, so now we got airtime finally. It took to the 3rd round to get you into the air, and it took a Pharah to do it. So the one thing I will say is, yes, you should be pocketing Pharah. Anna now has to deal with both of these two, healing them. So in this case, I would say hard pocket the Pharah, unless you see the Pharah either being hard countered, or if the Pharah just isn't doing anything of any real value. The only thing that you got to be careful of is Cassidy, but there's nothing else here that this Pharah has to deal with other than maybe a Roadhog hook, maybe. But we're in a low bronze game, so I'm not expecting the Roadhog to be able to hook a Pharah out of the sky. In a higher tier game, then maybe. But if the Pharah can take out the Cassidy with any consistency whatsoever, this should be completely free real estate for you two.
Maintaining damage boost. Let me take a look.
Hard pocket the Pharah. Let the Anna deal with everybody else. This should all be damage boost here. If your Orisa is like here and barely taking damage and the Ana at that time was there, just damage boost. It's not until they get to about right there that I would say start worrying about healing. Now, obviously that in a case like this, that's what I would say. But like if the whole team were shooting at them, then maybe you'd want to focus a little bit more on healing them. But your Pharah needs healing. You need to enable your Pharah to be able to do work on these guys. And now that the Cassidy's dead, it's completely free for them to just be dominating here. But if you're not healing them, they can't do that. There's no reason for you to be hooked there. You should be playing backlining here. Now that you got your Pharah back into the fight, you need to be playing in safe spots, not frontlining the Roadhog and getting yourself hooked. If this were season 2 or 1, you'd be dead right now. The only reason you're still alive is because they nerfed Roadhog. It's the only reason. Okay, get back on your Pharah and just stay on them.
Supplying damage increase.
You should have been damage boosting that Pharah, helping her kill the Lucio. That Lucio needed to die there. This Lucio is doing nothing but feeding. This is a very bronze thing to do right here. And the quicker you can kill him, the more staggered this next team fight for the enemy is going to be. So he's... Okay, good. He's dead now. So just stay on the Pharah. The Pharah needs to start taking space and flying out. So this is a little concerning. And this is where I would suggest now maybe starting to focus a little bit more on the Reaper if the Pharah doesn't start taking more space and flying around, because they seem kind of grounded to the point, which is not what you want to be seeing here. But because the Reaper's dead, there's nothing else for you to do here but damage boosting the Pharah, not the tank. Where is your Pharah? You've completely lost her. Where's she at? Pharah's dead. Why is Pharah dead? Pharah died to the Cassidy. Why did Pharah die to the Cassidy? Because you're not on her. Let's watch this once. Actually, let's watch it from the Cassidy's perspective. Yeah, so that... Okay, I don't know what that Pharah is doing. That Pharah needs to be flying around and being more difficult to hit. However, in that whole fight... So they just died. You're busy healing a 100% tank. Where is your value coming from? Your value is to pocket the Pharah. If you're pocketing that Pharah, she probably doesn't die there. Now, she didn't do anything to help herself and help her case into surviving there. But your job is to be pocketing them, and you didn't do that. You're busy pocketing and healing a 100% tank. This tank does not need healing. If you're going to be on the tank, you need to be damage boosting them. Now, the other thing I need to add here is you should try to see if you can get a res off, because you can't get booped from this. And they seem very focused on attacking the tank. You need to try to start getting reses off here. Okay, just heal. Yeah, and at this point, it would have been get out. So, the one thing I would say is you needed to get more height on that flying, especially toward the end, so that you'd have a little bit more escapability, because you're taking some damage you really don't have any business taking. But you did get out at least.
I see you're reaping the benefits.
Yeah. So, again, not on the Pharah. I would have tried to have been looking for the Pharah and getting back to them, as opposed to kind of just hunting for health packs. Mercy self-heals herself. I mean, all the supports do, really, so... Yeah, so at this point, this is just turning into a bronze kind of shit show. The tank goes in on by himself. You're left to try to just pick up the pieces. And this is where the point I was trying to make at the beginning. Sometimes you have to kind of take matters into your own hands and play a support that can kind of DPS and might be able to land a pick to kind of re-even the fight. Or in a case like that, maybe you land a Kiriko E or a Baptiste lamp and you keep your tank going a little bit more. Baptiste would have been able to throw out a little bit more healing than the Mercy could have done, and maybe you keep the Orisa going a little bit longer. If you're playing Ana, maybe you throw a nade down and then you get boosted healing on the Orisa and keep them going while they're feeding their butt off. You know, these are different things you got to keep in mind. Mercy's not always going to be the right play here. Res the Reaper. Oh wait, yeah, you can't. Never mind. I take that back. Never mind. They're pushing you back. You can't res that. But it does go to the point though. Like, we haven't even seen you attempt a res yet. Like, I would have liked to have seen you attempt the res on the Pharah there. Back when it was the Orisa, Pharah, and you on the point. Like, that would have been an attemptable res in my book. Like, if you would have went for it right away, yeah. And then you're just gonna die to a tire because you're standing still.
Surrender to my will. I must return to my post.
The point is vulnerable. Let's take it.
Let me tend to that.
Yeah, there's just not much for you here on Mercy or anything really at this point. So, alright. Number one is movement. Your movement needs a lot of work. Especially for a Mercy player. You got to start flying around, catching height, getting into places you're not going to take a lot of damage. You're taking a lot of damage that you just don't have any business taking. Start working on Mercy movement. Flying to people and shooting yourself up in the air will help you a lot. Number two, value of kit. If you're not flying as Mercy and you're not getting reses off, 2/3 of your value as Mercy is completely thrown into the garbage can. So if you're not getting the value of the hero that you're playing's kit, you're probably on the wrong hero and you need to swap. That goes into point 3. 3+ heroes per role. If you're not comfortable playing 3 heroes in the role that you're maining, get comfortable playing 3+ heroes per role. And learning when to swap when you're doing it. So this is a game you probably should have just swapped. I didn't really see anybody on your team that really seemed like they were worth a hard carry. Number 4 is, I'm going to say division of labor. And what I mean by that is if you're playing with a main healer and you're playing Mercy, you're the off support, meaning you need to be pocketing the DPS more. And understanding that division of labor, and as the team comp changes as the game goes, that division of labor changes with it. But I would have liked to have seen you pocketing the DPS more, letting the Moira heal the tank more, and letting her kind of deal with that sort of a thing. But I think if you focus on these 4 points, I think that will help you in terms of climbing. So I hope you found this helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.